You are on
There we go.
stage. Oh, cool.
We made it.
We're back. We have new software, so we're figuring it out as we go. Um, and
So you,
excuse my appearance because I seem to be backwards in my screen, as you can
yeah,
tell
so
from
you're,
the
yeah,
poster behind me. I'm
you
really
can,
much
you can,
better looking than this.
you can tell because usually his face is in his head in the back,
Right, right.
so he's backward. So now you can see
Yeah.
his face. Usually you can see
Maybe
his
I
head. Yeah.
maybe I'll move the camera back here and just shoot the back of my head. Okay, so
Good. Anyway, so good morning, James.
good morning. Good morning. Yeah, nice to be back. Here we are.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, really.
August. It's August. Can you believe it? I
No,
mean, I guess you
but
have to believe it.
I don't believe anything anyway, so it's not right.
It says
Remember?
on my calendar right here, and I believe my calendar. I always believe my calendar. So we
All
are
right.
back.
So
We
you
were going to
send
talk
me.
about. Oh, go ahead.
No. You go.
No,
Yeah,
you go.
because James, you know what to say.
Well, it is summertime, and the farmers markets are in full swing. I mean, here the farmers markets go all year round, pretty much. They sometimes close for a few weeks in January, just
They
because
do.
there's not that
I've.
much.
Oh,
They
okay.
used
I've
to.
never
They
seen.
used to. I'm
I've,
not sure if they still do. I mean, it really quiets down in the wintertime,
yep,
but
yep, yep.
really stuff grows here all year round. I mean, we grow lettuces all year round, all kinds of vegetables. So
Well, that's the thing I wanted to
we're
talk to
very
you
lucky.
about, and we need to talk about the season. And James, it's interesting because I had to do I do menu planning for people sometimes specifically for cancer patient, but
Hmm.
I'm trying to see like what's best in season and how to make a list of things that you should not eat during the winter. The problem in
Right.
California is there's food all year long. There's a couple of things that are not in season in California, like corn, tomatoes, stuff like that, right?
Right.
But that's the thing. So it's difficult for me to talk about seasons when I live here because in California we have a lot of. I think they grow everything all year long, right? I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing. I'm just saying this is what's happening, right?
Well, I think at the farmers market is where you really see the seasonality because they really do kind
Right,
of work
exactly.
with the season. I mean, you can't buy blueberries in February.
Yeah, you
So it's
can.
kind of fun.
Sometimes I've seen them, so that's why I was telling you I've seen those. There's a guy who does blueberry that comes, or maybe not in February, but I've seen him kind of like during the year. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so seasons are a little bit skewed um, everywhere in the world because we have to grow more vegetables for a lot of people that eat only vegetables, and I'm not saying it's bad or good. I'm just saying now we have to go out of season vegetables all day long. So
Hmm.
that may be one of the options that you can see. Anyway,
I
all
mean, it's
right.
true. It's true that you can buy tomatoes at the supermarket absolutely every day of the year. There's no day you can walk into Safeway and they won't have any tomatoes, or they might not have fresh corn, things
They
like
do.
that.
The corn and the tomatoes. They taste like nothing at all. It's
Oh yeah, no,
really. Oh my
they're not
god.
good, but you can get them. Well, it's just like if you go to a restaurant in the middle of the winter and you order a sandwich, it's going to come with a slice of tomato on it, even
So
when it has no flavor at
right,
all.
right.
It's
So
mushy. There's no taste.
I know. I don't mind as much. I mean, I do. I don't mind as much in a sandwich because it's kind of the watery part, right?
Yeah,
But when you go to a restaurant in San Francisco, especially, and you see tomato mozzarella on winter, you cannot go
yeah,
to that restaurant. That is like that's a sign. It says, "Do not come here. I'm an idiot. I don't know how to cook."
right. I mean, a classic Italian caprese salad is one of the great joys of summertime. I mean, it really says summertime. It's fresh mozzarella, fresh basil, fresh
Right.
tomatoes, and it's got to be
Really
good.
good,
I mean, the tomatoes have
super
to
good.
be really good because otherwise, what's the point? But you're
Yeah,
right. You can
sweet.
find them
Yeah,
in restaurants all year round.
and that's not good. Anyway, so I'm always like, it tastes nothing at all. What would you serve that? They serve that with a crappy basil, some unflavored olive oil. That dish is should
Well,
not go
they
into.
dump a lot of balsamic vinegar on it. That's how they do it, and a lot of
Yeah,
salt.
there you go. Yeah,
And
right, right.
so it's sweet and it's salty, and
Anyway,
But
so now you know. So you
life
guys,
is too short to eat that kind of food. I mean, you might as well eat something that's good in the wintertime. Like,
people keep saying life is short. I don't get it. Life is really long. It's full and long and good. No, seriously, like it doesn't.
is
Oh my God, it's like compared to the stars, yeah, okay, but not compared to my life is long. Every day is long, and it's
it
great.
seems
It's fine, and I'll be happy again. It's like
yeah. Well, there's
anyway.
a very famous Mark Twain quote where he said that, and I'm paraphrasing, but he said something to the effect of, if you don't smoke or drink or eat rich food, you won't live longer, it'll just seem like it.
Yeah,
And I
true,
think that's very
absolutely,
true. And
so true, so true.
yeah, I'm for quality of life, not necessarily length of life. Although I'd like to live for a very long time, but it's all about,
Did you ask your
enjoying
family
your
that?
life. What?
Did you ask your family that? You might want to talk
No,
to them first. I don't
they've
think they're gonna.
disagreed with me.
That's right. I don't think they're gonna agree.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah, they
man.
want the
Anyway,
inheritance to come sooner than later.
you mean
They're
you
going to be
prefer some?
surprised when they find out what it is. But farmers markets are
Yeah. All right.
almost everywhere now. I mean, we're here in Berkeley, so we have 3 farmers markets just in Berkeley alone. We have one on Saturday, one on Tuesday, and one on I
Thursday.
think Thursday afternoon,
Thursday is
and
the
they're all in different places, but they're all very good.
the
And then
Thursday
there's
one is
several
the
in San
is
Francisco. They're all over the
oh
place.
yeah, Oakland, Marine. It's called the Thursday one, James. It's called the X Gourmet Ghetto
Oh, right.
one.
Yeah. It's right up there in front of
We
Saul's.
we
And
we can't call it gourmet anymore because whatever. Anyway,
no,
so
you can't call it a ghetto anymore.
oh ghetto.
Yeah,
You
you
can,
can still call it gourmet.
which is the worst. This is the horrible word, man. Gourmet. I remember very well when I went to LA for the second time, 92 or something, right? You have all
Uh,
these restaurant, gourmet this, gourmet salad, gourmet this. And I was asking them, what does that mean? Like, what is the specification of that dish or restaurant? What does that mean, gourmet?
yeah.
It's funny, huh? And it's everywhere. It was
It's
everywhere.
well, and that's the trouble with the word, is it's just been so overused, and it's been so misapplied to different kinds of foods that it's virtually lost its meaning. I mean, it does have
Yeah,
a meaning, of course.
it does.
It implies food that is all about taste and quality, and it's sort of a higher level of food, or it's food that's just really good. But because it's been used for everything that anybody
It's from the
wanted to try
word.
to sell.
It's from the word gourmand.
Hmm.
Gourmandise is like
Right.
it's like a candies, pastries, um,
Oh.
gourmet. Yeah, it's all the same. So anyway,
People also misuse the word gourmand. They
yeah,
talk about a gourmand as somebody that really is very discerning about food, but actually a gourmand is somebody who eats a lot of food, who just is sort of indiscriminate and just eats a ton of food, isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah.
So it's not necessarily a good thing, but
And
anyway,
gourmand eats a lot of food, but it's still good food though. Well, I'm
yeah,
not sure because you have to understand in the old days there was no bad food.
right, right,
So today we live in a different world where you have to differentiate between real food and fake food. That never happened before. So all the textbook, all the recipes, anything that, the stories, the adventure, those people that was talking about food in the old days, you're gonna have to translate a little bit because some words are gonna be lost. A
right,
gourmand was something who would love to eat, but a gourmand today would not eat the stuff that we serve. A gourmand really like good food. He
right,
loves good food. He loves a lot of good food, but it has to be good. A gourmand has to have good food, so it doesn't apply anymore.
right. And it's also interesting that in the 19th century and before, the sign of success, the sign that you were an important person and a person of quality and property and everything,
That was
was
a
to
hat.
be
That
big,
was a hat.
was to have yes, to have a hat. And it was also, I mean, a man
Right.
with a big
Yeah,
belly was a prosperous man.
I know
And if
it's
you were
funny.
skinny people were poor.
You know
And
this
if you
that that, that yeah, right, right.
But yeah, you're right. These words came from a time when everything was seasonal, everything was organic. There
There
was
was there
there
was food that there was no fake food at all. There was
no,
condiments and fermented food, but that's
right,
it. And people didn't make, and there was not one person that make food for everyone. Everybody did a little bit. We all
right.
shared. It's
And
it's a it's a
if you lived in the city, then you went to the baker for your bread, you went to the butcher for your
Yeah,
meat, you went to the fish market to get your fish,
which didn't
or you
change
had
much
your
today.
servant, you had your more if you were prosperous, you would have your servants go and do all this. But still, you didn't go to a supermarket, you certainly didn't buy strawberries in January. Um,
There was none.
and no.
That didn't exist. No, those seeds didn't exist. My mom, she's not very old. She's like 87 or 88 somewhere. I mean, she's not very old. She's it's kind of
Yeah.
um and then she was eating she was telling me in season what was available. That's it. So salads, carrots,
Mhm.
all the root vegetables, lard, eggs, and that's pretty much it. And apples and pears, right? But
Mhm.
that was very limited in the winter. And then when spring come, they had more stuff. They had all the peas and all the stuff. So that's how they learn how to cook. They learn how to
Right.
cook per season, and they would
And
never go and fetch something that was weird because it was not available. So you can't find it,
that's why
right?
spring was such a time of celebration because all
Yeah.
these new foods were available. I mean, suddenly
Uh,
you could have peas and asparagus and all kinds of stuff. And
James, let me
um,
check. Let me check if I can see. Can we see? It's good. Yeah.
if you can see the
No,
ocean
no.
from your window,
I had. I
I'll
just
tell you
did.
right now, you can't.
No, I just did because you know why it's raining.
Uh,
So I saw water. I saw water.
you could practically throw a stone and hit the sea from where you are, but I don't think you can see it. I mean, you'd have to have a very good arm to just on the
Too
other
late.
side of those buildings. Yeah.
Damn.
So,
All right. So
but the other thing about farmers markets that I love, aside from the fact that, like in Berkeley, you have to be organic, you have to meet a certain criteria to be able
which is
to
good.
sell your food at the farmers
Good thing.
market. And it's not all raw food anymore. There's a lot of vendors there that sell prepared things. There's bakers that have their bread. There's people that sell pastry. There's even a popcorn stand and there's a coffee stand. But most of the market is fresh foods, fresh vegetables, meats. There's a lot of meat. There's seafood at the markets on certain days. But what I love about it, besides all the great food, is that it's just such a direct connection to our roots. Because in Europe, 100 well, still in Europe, but traditionally in Europe, every little town has a market, and it might only be one day a week, but it's the day that everybody comes in from their farms, they bring all their produce, and they set up a stand and they sell their food, whether it's and they probably only have one or two things that they sell. Maybe they sell lettuces, maybe they sell potatoes, whatever it is they sell, they bring it into the market and everybody would come to the market typically on a Saturday and you would buy food. In some places their markets are every day, of course.
Now
There are
it's still the same today, huh?
Yeah, it's the same.
So
And we
but
kind of lost that in America for a long time, and now it's back through this whole tradition of farmers
which is
markets. And I
great,
don't know
which is great,
who came
which is
up with
great.
the idea, but they're
Not
everywhere
me.
now. They're all across America, as well they should be.
Yeah.
So we're very
So why
lucky
do we
here to
like?
have.
Yeah. So
Huh?
we decided to talk about farmers market, and what do we like about farmers market? Well, first of all, you can find everything you need in season, like you said earlier. So
Hmm.
let's say you don't know what to eat and you're confused about all these studies and all these people having website about telling you what to eat and stuff.
Right,
Well, the thing is, go to the market. It's all there. Everything that is at the
right,
farm market is for you, good for you. Everything.
right,
So don't just let go of those studies that you don't understand. And I'm saying that in a way of, if you want to read the study, you have to read the study like all the pages, not just like the abstract, which is most of the time absolutely wrong, and it's biased. They're trying to tell you something that is not even in the text below, so you have to read that. Who has the time, right?
right.
So I do, because I do that, but A lot of people don't. So please don't do that. Just go to the market, eat everything in there. And the
Well,
market
and
is gonna have something fresh also. Fresh means very nutritive. So the
right.
price you pay a little bit, that's what it is. That's the price. The price for quality, nutrients, health. That's the price, right?
And it's still not that expensive. I mean, we're talking about fresh fruits and vegetables. They're not that expensive. I mean, you can spend a lot of money at the farmers market, and certainly if you go and start buying meats and things and bread, but even the meats are so
It
good.
doesn't
There's a
matter.
guy that raises his own cattle and pigs, slaughters them himself, brings them to the market. It's
It
fabulous
doesn't matter
stuff.
the price. It's not that it doesn't matter. The fact is you need to realize that you that dollar is going to do a lot of good. You are investing in your future. Like really, it's a money that
Right.
goes very, you're going to pay a buck or two more, but that money is going to do so much good for you, for everyone else. So there's no excuse. You can't say I'm on a budget. Lots of people are on a budget. I completely understand. But the thing is, um, don't buy a nice clothes. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Like I don't know how to address that. Like you have a supercar, 10 house. Just I don't know what to do. But the thing is, the food is number one. You have to get good food. The rest is right.
Well, and people often don't make the connection. I mean, if you say that every dollar you spend at the farmers market, you're making an investment. You're making an investment in your own health, but you're also making an investment in that farmer to allow them to continue doing what they do. Okay, why is that important? Because a lot of the big industrial agriculture that goes on to feed the 300 and some million people in America is extremely damaging to the soil, to the environment, to the air, to the water. It's not good. It's not good for us.
Right.
And the more we can support these farmers that grow in a traditional way, that treat the
Well,
soil with respect,
even
that
if you
that
did, James, even if you were like, even if you like, let's say I'm selfish. I just think only of me. I don't care about anyone, right? Like most
mhm,
people in this world today. So even if I was that selfish, I would want to spend money on the farmers market because that is my guaranteed. Those people need to be here. Once they are gone, I would not know where to go eat or buy my food.
right.
So luckily in Berkeley, and I'm sure there's a lot of cities in America the same way, that prioritize good stores like Berkeley Bull,
Mhm.
Monterey Market, Rainbow in the City, all these stores we have. I'm going to give you a list of actually stores where we sell Reboot that are beautiful stores. I mean, that's pretty
Yep.
amazing, right? Now, how many people are like that here? What do you? That's the thing, man.
Well, and the stores that you mentioned have huge clientele. I mean, Berkeley Bowl and Monterey Market alone, there are so many people that
I
shop
know,
there. I mean,
right?
just go there on a Saturday morning and you'll see it's packed. And Berkeley Bowl has two locations. They have well, it's not the original location, but it's the original neighborhood that they have one store, and then they have their other store in West Berkeley. Um, and they're cool stores. I mean, they're huge, and
Beautiful.
they've got a lot of food, and they've got really high quality food.
No, but do you
Um,
understand like how incredible that is? Like in that area right here. I mean, we have so many stores just in the area. I mean, you can see to other places in the state, in the US, I'm sorry, there's nothing, right? So, for example, for us here, just here, we have Berkeley Bowl, right? Okay, Berkeley Bowl is an incredible place. You guys, if you go to Berkeley, you have to go check it out. Monterey Market also, Monterey Market, kind of
yeah,
same type of
Monterey
quality.
Market's much smaller, and it doesn't have nearly the amount of
But there's a bunch of
groceries and
stores,
sundries
yeah.
that Berkeley Bowl has. It's mostly vegetables, but
And
great
then
place.
next to Monterey Market, we have the fishmonger, right? And we have Magnani, the really cool butcher, and we have the
Right.
fishmonger, we have the cheese store, we have the wine store. So when you go
Nice
to
little
the
bakery.
Monterey Market, you have a little village. You park your car, how you can, whatever that's right. But then you
Yeah,
walk store to store, just like in France or other countries. For me, it's France, right? And that's
right.
why you go to the store. But there's a bunch of stuff. For example, our drink reboot starting to do very well, by the way, James. And I was surprised to find out there's so many good stores around. Like we just got to Grocery Coop in San Francisco. Do you know these people?
The
Grocery Coop.
co-op, yeah.
Yeah. Star Grocery.
Uh-huh.
Star Grocery in Berkeley. We are also in Rainbow, in Rainbow Grocery. I mean, all these stores are just amazing. We are at Berkeley Bowl, Monterey Market. We had Village Market in on Broadway Terrace, Piedmont Grocery on Piedmont, and now we're gonna go to Molly's soon. Molly
Oh,
Stone.
Molly Stone,
That's
yeah.
really amazing stores. I mean, I didn't know this, but man, those people are great, doing good. That is beautiful. That means people are interested in good food. Keep going. Do you know what I mean? I mean,
We're
it's
very lucky that
obviously,
we have so many choices. Most of the country, their choices are basically Whole Foods. If they're lucky enough to have a Whole Foods, Trader Joe's.
whoa. And actually, Molly Stone is today. We're starting to sell today.
Oh,
Good afternoon.
awesome.
Really close. That's very, very, very beautiful stuff. And then there's a couple of more stores in Marine. I forgot the name. There's one. Sasha, do you remember? There's another one. No. Anyway, I'll list all this as we go. It's on the website. Actually, the website is, if you want to know more, it's called,
The website for Reboot,
yep, drinkreboot.com. Sorry, I forgot to,
drinkreboot.com.
I never think of telling you guys, but this is the drink. Okay, this is really good. So that shows you all the location where we sell. You know how you can get it. You cannot order through us, but so the point is not the point about reboot. The point is that we are very, very excited. I discovered all these store that sells good stuff. So if there is so many stores, that means they make enough money to sustain. So I'm very
Hmm.
happy about the fact that some people will spend money, and I'm really excited about it. It's not for the money;
Uh-huh.
it's the fact that people will go for what's good. Finally, we may get out of that horrible situation where people are getting sicker and sicker. We need to reverse that, right? So that's what we do
That's
at
right.
Kitchen Fire. Anyway,
That's right. So what's your advice for people shopping the market? I mean, you've got different levels of cook. You have people that are very experienced cooks, not necessarily professional, but that are, very high functioning amateurs. Um, and then you have just novice cooks, people that are just starting out that can cook but aren't, totally fluent in it. And then you have the people that can't cook at all.
right.
And
So
I
let's
am, and
let's
the people
start.
that can't cook at all say, "Oh, I don't go to the farmer's market because I can't cook. So what? I don't know what to do with everything." Um,
So I would say this those are three categories. This, because the
yeah,
people that know how to cook usually they know what to get. They feel very comfortable at the market. So I'm not worried about these guys. But let's say we take, for example, someone who barely know what's going on. It's not a bad thing. You have to start somewhere, and I'm very happy you do. I will, and that's what I do for a living, guys. Remember, I'm a cooking school, and I have a 12-week series. I have a bunch of classes where people come to me, they don't know how to cook, and it's great. I want to take them and relax, give them confidence. Boom, don't worry, talk to me, we're going to be fine. So when this mediocre buyer or mediocre cooks, they need to go and learn the farmers market. You know what's great about the farmers market? It's the farmers.
yeah,
Don't forget those guys. They know how to cook, right?
they
Hey,
know
what
what
is
to
that?
do
I
and where
don't
to
know
go.
what I don't know what that is. What is that? Well, it's this and this and this. You can slice it. You can do it, right?
Yeah,
That's what you go to the market. The the goal is there is humans. We have humans around. We are social beings. We need
right.
to meet again. You can't stay in your home all day long, except those rich assholes that order everything online and never put their nose out. I'm super tired of these people.
Well, it's like if you go to a huge supermarket, there's no one to ask. If you go to the produce department and you're looking around, you can't go to somebody and say, "Well, how do I cook this?" They're gonna be like, "Well, I don't
You
know."
mean those kids that restock the.
Right? They're just their
They're
job
nice.
is just to
They're really
make it
nice.
look
They
good.
just don't know. They just don't know how to cook, right? So the market is great. You can ask them. And also, again, the farmers market is in season, so things are going to be ready to go. So you just have to slice them up. And the difference, like when you don't know how to cook something, it's very easy, right? And actually, I'm going to do a little demo, chef. I'm going to put that in the oven because I want to see. I bought that new pan. It's carbon pan.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
those?
Uh-huh.
Great, huh? It's a carbon pan. This is safe. That's why I'm trying to get something really safe. Um, it's not that expensive. This is 40 bucks or something. Really heavy, beautiful stuff. That's healthy. It's not aluminum. It's not some weird coating. No, it's clean carbon. So we're going to use that.
So
And
it's
I want to
carbon
bake,
steel,
yeah, carbon steel. Sorry. It's called black carbon steel.
right?
Do you know anything about this or no?
Yeah, it's basically a raw steel. It's very high carbon. It's a pressed. They have it in a sheet and it's pressed in a mold to make the shape.
James, as you talk, I'm going to start cutting stuff. This is not
Okay.
the idea to show you how to cut today. I just want to experiment the oven, bake stuff. Okay. So, sorry.
I was just going to explain the difference between that and cast iron. But
Yes.
cast iron is that it's cast. It's iron that's poured into a mold, and then it's
Uh,
allowed to cool and solidify. So you've got this hard, very very hard, great thing to cook with, but it's very
okay.
different. Cast iron is very porous. They both need to be seasoned with oil. They both
This
are
one is pre.
raw, sort
It
of
says
unprotected steel.
this one. It says pre-seasoned.
Yeah, that's a trend now. They do that with a lot of the cast iron too. They season it for you at the factory so you don't have to do it. And then the more you cook with it, the more seasoned it becomes, and it becomes almost like non-stick pans.
Okay. So right now
Uh,
I'm just doing a squash, chef. Any. I just want to see a bake. Put everything in the oven
uh-huh.
and bake. I want to do a easy dinner on trays
Uh-huh.
and see how that looks. Okay, cool. So keep going. I'm sorry, chef. I don't need to.
What was I going to say?
Carbon difference between stainless steel and high carbon. I mean the big carbon one we had, the heavy one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the cast iron is has a lot more iron in it. It's iron ore that's used, and they smelt it down and pour it into molds. Black steel pans are pressed. So it's a much harder surface. It's much less porous. It conducts heat really well, very fast.
Great.
So they heat up fast. They cool down pretty fast. Cast iron actually holds heat much longer. So if you turn off a cast iron
Yeah,
pan, it's going to be
yeah.
a long
Right,
time before it's cool enough to handle. But
right.
black steel cools off pretty quickly. But it heats pretty evenly. They've always been classic omelet pans. Jacques
The
Pepin
carbon,
said that, yeah,
carbon one.
Jacques Pepin said that when he was cooking professionally in France, he made omelets every single day. That was part of his job. And so his
Yeah.
black steel pan was
Oh
his omelet pan,
wow.
and that's all he used it
Ah,
for.
nice.
But he said the problem is that back then he used it every single day. He made omelets every single day. So it
Wow.
stayed really well seasoned. But he said now he doesn't make omelets every day. So the pan just sits for, long periods of time, and it
Okay.
kind of it kind of it doesn't keep those properties as well. So that's why he tends to use non-stick
Ah.
pans now for his omelets. Anyway, they're great pans to cook with.
Okay.
They're very natural.
So I'm gonna try today. I'm just gonna put that in the oven. Hopefully it's just phenol, some stuff in there. I'm just gonna put that in there. I'm gonna do a little.
We love to cook with fennel. I love to eat fennel while I'm cooking. I love when I'm using fennel because I always cut off a few pieces and I just nibble on them while I'm eating. It's
Oh
so
yeah.
such a great
Oh
snack.
man. No, no, no,
I
no. It's
just love
beautiful
it.
stuff. Super healthy. Super
Yeah,
healthy. I'm gonna do also this guy. I want to show you how to. This is a huge one. I could not find a small one, so I
that's
can't eat the whole thing today, right?
is that a
So
butternut squash?
yeah, butternut. So I'm just gonna do one slice to show you, okay? Or maybe two. Okay, that's it. Just to show you the technique to put that in. I'm gonna do a bake. Great. Make some cubes. See? great. Look at that. So cool, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Boom. So now we have to figure out something. Okay, actually, this one is too big. I need to figure out. So this is a little tricky to cut. So I can't go like that. I'm going to cut my hand, right? See what I'm doing, right? Okay, that should be good. All right, so now I have a bunch of stuff here. Oh, let's put an onion. What do you think?
What the heck?
The quarter that onion. Let's do this. Let's keep the root. Keep the root.
Right.
Remove
Because
the
that
stem.
keeps it together.
Yes. Still, we're gonna keep that root. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna do that cut, right? So they keep together. If you don't want to keep those onions together, remove that root.
Then you
That's
cut
what
the
you need
root
to do.
off.
Put the root
Now
in.
you're cutting everything in big chunks. You're not doing a fine chopping. You're cutting it in big chunks because you're going to roast it. So you don't need them to be in small pieces.
It's gonna go about 30 minutes, maybe more. Now, I want to show you something cool though. All right, in a minute. I want to get some chicken. I want to see if I can do everything together. You know what? Actually, I'm going to start with that. I'm going to start them first, just like that. I don't know if you can see, but right?
Now, do you have a fire under that right now?
No, 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 no. All oven. I'm just going to put a bunch of oil, bake them for 10 minutes, 10, maybe 15, put it out, put my chicken, and go back to something. You know, I might
Are,
put the chicken directly. You know what? I think I'm
are
going
you
to do
going to
the chicken.
salt it before you put it in the oven?
Yeah. Salt, pepper, herbs. I'm going to put a bunch of dried herbs. I'm just showing you guys to do something really easy. You know what I mean? Like this is like no cooking. We just done. We are super tired. I have some my herb de Provence right here. So the herb de Provence is basically all my herbs that are fresh that I buy. You know, like the oregano, the marjoram, thyme, all this stuff. Then I let them dry on the stick, and this
Mm-hmm.
is my herb de Provence. It's all mixed up. It's sage. Smells super good. This is the real deal because I made that myself. And all I did is let them sit on the tray. I already showed you a few shows, remember?
Right.
And I'm going
Yeah,
to put a bunch.
it's not rocket science to dry herbs.
And now all you need to do is you need to break them. You need to break them. You need to you see what I mean? Look at that. And don't be shy. You see? You see all I got? I got tons now. Why? Because every time I keep them, they never go bad. So I just hang them or whatever, and I have basil, I have mint, I have all kind of things. I'm going to put a lot of olive oil. Are we gonna have this guy again on the show?
Yeah.
One of the best olive oil, right?
It's the only olive oil we buy anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so you can see, I'm gonna put some salt. More salt. Black pepper, sure. Why not, right?
Now the salt, besides bringing out the flavor, it's also going to extract moisture from the vegetables. So when
That's
it's
why.
baking, it's kind of almost braising then at that point, right?
No. That's a great point, James. You can't do it too early, otherwise it's gonna not burn. You see what I mean? Because exactly what you said. If you put it too early, where's my chicken?
It's going to pull moisture out and it's going to get very wet.
Yeah, there you go. So you can do fish, you can do chicken, you can do bacon. Oh, actually, I'm gonna do bacon and chicken. I can find my chicken. All right, you guys don't go away. My chicken is here. I know. I've seen it.
Are you? He's
I'm
he's
in the
chasing
fridge.
it around right now. He's trying to catch it.
This guy does not want to go.
I
Let me
just
show you
want to know: are
something.
you going to kill it on screen, or you killed it off screen?
No, I told him he was going to be going into a sauna. You'll never know. So I have some chicken. I just bought them. Huh? I want skin on. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna stripe. See how that looks. And why not some bacon? Even better, right? Everything super good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look what I do, people. Okay. I have some big slices of bacon. Chicken. Look at this. Thick slices, huh?
Yeah,
Wow.
that looks great. That's real farmer's bacon.
Oh yeah. Right. So I'm not gonna touch the chicken with my hand, people, and actually because I don't want to have to go wash my hand after. I want to keep going. So this is what I do for my chicken, and you notice I use a lot of salt everywhere, right? I'm gonna put inside the meat. Put that away for later. This is my chicken, so the inside, and then I'm gonna put that skin up and salt the top. See? I'm gonna start baking that. See what happens. And I think I should be able to cook all this stuff in the same pan and dinner ready in about 30 to 35 minutes. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah,
Let's
very
see.
cool.
So salt, then go. You can't salt too early, otherwise too much water extracted. So I'm gonna go straight into the oven. That's why I bought this pan actually. So you see I'm putting that just like that so it stays in. And we're gonna go in the oven. And that's gonna cook for about 35 minutes. Whoa, that looks good. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna take a picture. Oh yeah,
Take a picture.
photo time, man. Ooh, pretty. All right. Bye bye. All right, we're gonna go. Let's go at 400. Leave it. 400. Everything should be done. I would say in about 30 to 40 minutes.
Nice.
So what we'll do is
Now
we'll
the
check
great
in
thing
20.
about that is you can go do something else. You
Yeah,
put that in the oven. You don't have to stand in the kitchen. You can go.
you can have a podcast. You can do a TV show. You can talk to James.
I was thinking like cocktails, put that in the oven and then go have a cocktail out on
Let
the
me put that in the
patio.
fridge, chef.
Yeah.
So in 20 minutes, we'll check it to make sure it's going well, but it won't be ready by the time the show is done. But we'll take a
No.
picture and next week we'll show them. How about that?
All right.
All right. So
Now
if I buy,
that's
yes,
a
go.
great technique because there are so many foods you can do that with. Just cut them in big pieces, put them in a pan, olive oil, salt and pepper, put it in the
And I'm
oven.
gonna add tomatoes later. Yeah, I bought some tomatoes, and those are good tomatoes. Look at this. Those are little. They're like the dried farm.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna cut those. I'm gonna put them a little bit later. Bunch of tomatoes. Then give me some juice. If it dries out too much, I may put in there in about 15, 20 minutes, a little bit of wine, like a quarter cup, half a cup, just in about to give it some steam. Put the
Right.
tomatoes in, everything is gonna kind of done. There's no need to do anything crazy.
Oh, that's going to be so good. That's going to be so
I
good.
know that. And I have some fish that I bought. I can also put the fish the last 7 minutes on top, directly on top. And I have chicken and I have fish. That's the thing. That's how you cook. Easy stuff, right? It goes in the oven, everything in the oven. Everything is clean. It doesn't stink my house or my kitchen. And
Yeah, people get really intimidated about cooking, and you can do these kind of things that make it
ah,
very, very simple. You can do it after work. Like you say, you can come home, you do that. How long did that take? That took 15 minutes to put all that together. You put it in the
that's,
oven,
yeah,
and
15
then you're
minutes. Yeah,
done. Then you're done. You just go and you do whatever you do in the evening. You
that's
have a
right.
cocktail, you watch the
But
news, you read a
you
book.
know, James, the idea is so the idea would be the same dish on a big tray,
Yeah.
and you have 8 chicken, you have all your food. You can eat for 3 days, 4 days, right? And
Hmm.
you make another one. You can make another one with other vegetables. You bake everything. You can cook for 2 or 3 hours on the weekend, whenever you can, or whenever you decide the day. You really cook for the week. Like that's it. That's called meal planning, right?
Yeah, you can roast a whole bunch of vegetables and then just put them in a container and put them in the fridge and just
And that's what
you've
you
got
eat, and that's what people eat.
yeah. And I love having cooked chicken around. I love just being
Oh
able to
man,
pull some chicken out and
it's chicken in the skin. It's full meal. You don't need anything else. You just eat that. If you don't know, if you really don't want to cook, you just eat some chicken with the skin, a little fat. That's it. You can stop. You can always add something. I'd like to have a little salad, right? But if it's not, it's not. At least I have my protein, my fat. I have everything I need, which is important. Because a
yeah.
lot of people that I know, it's good to have cooked chicken. It's true, right? Because it's the thigh. You just eat it with the skin and the fat. Your full meal is complete. It's complete. You have pretty much everything you need.
I
That's what
do
people
that with
don't
other
realize,
meats too. When we cook, if we cook
right?
lamb chops, pork chops, steak, I always cook more than we're going to eat together at our meal, and then I put the rest away. So the next day we just slice it. We can make tacos. We can just put it on a salad. Just snack on it right out of the fridge. I love to have those kind of things available to eat. It's much healthier than, if you really get hungry during the day and you need a snack, what could be better than to pull out a chicken leg or a slice of steak? That's much better than, say, I don't know, eating a bag of chips or whatever people
It's
snack
funny.
on, pretzels, potato chips. Yeah, not
Yeah,
good. All
terrible.
right.
Snacks is
So,
not great, man. Anyway, snacks is not great. People snacking all day long. It's not great. What the hell is that? You should not be hungry like that.
well,
It's
and if
ridiculous.
they're that hungry all day, it's probably because they're not getting enough fat. It's fat is
Protein,
what keeps it protein and
protein
fat
and
is
fat.
what
Yeah,
keeps
both of
you,
them.
in
Satiated.
you think about the cavemen, they didn't know where their next meal was going to come from. So if they ate enough really fatty meat, it sustained them through these periods of
Yeah.
fasting when they, had to go out and hunt their food. Now today we don't have to go hunt our food if we don't want to, but it's still, you eat in the morning. You
That's
don't want to have to eat constantly
no.
through the day.
That's because we have plenty of neighbors with cool pets, so we don't
Yeah,
have to worry about where
yeah,
to find our food, right?
and they're slow. They're easier to catch.
And we trust humans.
Yeah, they trust you. Yeah, they come up. They want to be petted, and the next thing you know, they're in the oven. Yeah, simple as that.
Yeah.
So if you don't know how to cook, you can certainly do this, but going to the farmer's market, there are so many things there that don't have to be cooked. Like you said, some of that stuff you can just slice it up and eat it especially in the summer when they have great tomatoes. They have dates, salads, of course, all those luscious greens and radishes
That's
and
really
spring
amazing.
onions and
Radish.
all that
My
stuff.
God.
You can just cut that stuff up and make a salad, and that's really good for you.
If,
And you
even
don't
if you
have to
don't
know
know
how
how
to
to,
cook.
even if you don't know how to make a dressing, you just put oil and vinegar, right?
Yep.
I mean,
I tend to
lemon,
do that
oil.
anyway. When I dress
Yeah,
salads,
yeah, yeah.
I
Right,
I put two or three kinds of vinegar. I just
right.
sprinkle it over the
Yeah.
washed and dried greens. Then I put some generous salt and then olive oil, and then I toss it all. And it all gets coated. And if you toss it enough, it's all going to get. You don't have to. Um, you don't have to make the dressing separately. You can. Sometimes we make
Sure.
dressing that we make more than we're going to use on the salad so that we put it in a jar and shake it, and you pour a little on the salad like a blue cheese dressing or something, and then we can put it in the. We've also Sydney's been making creme fraiche again,
Oh,
where she
wow.
just lets it sit out on top of the oven and just ferment and get firm, and then she whips it up, and then eventually we put it in
Ooh,
the
nice.
fridge. But it's so good to have around. We put it well,
Wow.
you put it right on a dessert, but we mix it with things. We mix it with blue cheese to make a really good dressing for salads. The other night we did that, and I cooked a bunch of bacon and chopped it up in little pieces, and so we had freshly cooked bacon all over the salad with blue cheese and little cherry tomatoes. was
Yeah,
fabulous,
yeah,
and it's a
absolutely.
complete meal. That's all we had for dinner was
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh no. It's like you don't need a lot of food. You need to make sure you get your protein and your fat, and after that,
yeah,
whatever you want.
yep,
Seriously,
yep.
with fruit,
So
nuts,
and of course there's all the
so
wonderful fruit at the farmers market too that doesn't
well, that's
need.
exactly. But at the farm at a good farmers market, you're gonna find everything you need, and that include butter, oil, olive oil, good oil,
Yep.
and then you get all your nuts. I mean, most of the nuts. You get all your mushrooms. You get all your veggies. You get most of the meat,
Yeah.
fish included, and you have meat,
Yeah.
and then you have bacon, and you have eggs. So
And
that
cheese.
food and cheese. Sorry, I
Yeah.
can tell you that food. If someone says red meat is bad for you, not the one from the farmers market, I can tell you that one is healing. That's
Yeah.
going to make you strong, makes your heart strong, and you need good salt, right? So
But
understand a little bit about
people have been so brainwashed by this whole low fat
low salt.
nonsense that no
Right.
salt, no fat.
So I'm going to give you an easy tip for the salt. It's really easy. You can eat as much salt as you want. Like, believe me. No, you can. It's when they say more salt, this is chemistry. So if people want to challenge me, no problem. If you eat a lot of salt, if you don't eat enough salt, you will have a high blood pressure. It's chemistry, and I can show it's very basic stuff. The opposite is absolutely not true. Not true. You can see it. It's very easy how the sodium travels, potassium go away. The sodium is going to bring your glucose, it's going to bring your calcium, it's going to bring the stuff in. He's the master regulator with the chloride. That's what they do. They master regulate the energy going in and out, and the potassium is the other guy in front of the sodium that regulate all the in and out. So understand something. Ah, see, that's exactly right. This is exactly what. And I tell you more, Stephanie. The thing is
Hi,
this.
Stephanie.
The thing is this. For I like saturated fat, right? I like coconut fat. Coconut is one of the most incredible food. But let me talk to you about the salt. This is how you eat salt. You salt your dish until it tastes the food, not the salt. It's very
Right.
important. So let's say you don't know how, it's too abstract for you. Go make a soup. This is how the best training for you. Make a soup, start with a teaspoon of salt, make that, taste it. You have to taste the food and you add the salt until you taste the food. Now listen, this is important. The salt, the difference between salt and sugar, salt will give you a negative feedback when it has too much. Sugar will always give you a positive feedback. Positive feedback means you want more. Negative
Right.
feedback means you don't want any more. So the
Right.
salt is you eat as much as you want. The body will stop you. It cannot deal with more. It will stop you for sure.
Right.
Sugar is the opposite. You'll keep eating and eating.
Yeah, it
Now,
just makes
for
you want to eat more.
so salt is very important. It masters all the regulation for the minerals to go in and out. If you don't have enough salt, you will have a lot of issues, including high blood pressure. And I'm sure people are going to be like, oh, that guy is an idiot. The cardiologist said, well, I'll demonstrate anytime you want. Okay. So if you want to
Well,
talk
we
chemistry.
should talk about the difference in salts, though. That you should buy a good salt.
Absolutely a good salt.
You shouldn't
No,
buy the typical
that's salt. Thank
granulated
you.
salt with all the iodine in it. You don't need that.
So I have a few here, right? My favorite is this one. It's called Redmond Lake, Utah. So
Hmm.
it's like a pink salt a little bit. Lots of stuff in there. It's beautiful. It's mined. There's nothing
Right.
in there. There's no pollutant or any of that. This is good, right? But there's a lot of pollutant in. You see what I mean? That's the point. There's so much pollution that I don't know how good that thing is. It's sea salt, great. And I have also another salt. It's called salt de Guérande, sel de Guérande, right? I
Uh-huh.
have all these beautiful salt. I don't use them anymore. I want clean. And to go back to the fat, this is what's important. The fat is called essential fatty acid, right? Essential. Essential means you can't make it. You have to go and get it. So you have to rebuild your cell membrane with a good fat, non-oxidized. And non-oxidized fat would be all the saturated fat. They cannot oxidize, so that's safe. And then your olive oil, that's may oxidize, but not as much. And then don't eat seed oil. I mean, I know most of you guys are starting to know that, but you can't touch seed oil. You can't do that. Okay, so that's the idea. The fat is extremely important. All 100% of the cell membrane, all are made of two things exclusively: protein and fat. That's it. Nothing else. So in the brain, it's 70 to 30%, so 70% fat, right? But all of the cells in the body is 50-50, roughly. You need protein and fat. That's what you need. Like bones. Someone was talking about bones. Like, well, bones is made 40 to 50% is protein.
Right.
You see, it's like it's not a piece of wood in
I
there.
know. And people are so afraid of it. They're so afraid of
Crazy.
meats, fatty meats. They buy chicken with no skin because they think it's somehow healthier for them. God,
It's
they don't
also,
know what they're missing. We love to
it's,
get that skin nice and crunchy and
oh my God. And also, like people keep commenting. So those are the questions that I get, of course, because as soon as I get someone who I have to, make food for, he's gonna ask me, but isn't it bad to do this and this and this? I'm like, okay, no, it's not. But like burning, cooking fire, cooking meat on the fire. Well, we've been doing that for millions of years, so I don't know why. Just the last 50 years. Oh man, oh, it's bad.
suddenly
Oh,
it's
but
bad.
but 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 we've this is what we've been eating. What happened? What happened in the? No, it's bad because of the whatever. So there's all this chemical that now they're pulling out. Now, I can't wait to see the concluding study that shows that actually cooking meat on fire is bad. If you do it all the time and if you keep burning your meat, eventually you are eating so much damaged food that yes, possibly it could interact with your epigenetic, with basically your DNA, right? It's possible.
But it's not the best way to cook anyway. If you're cooking on the grill, you're much better off to let the coals turn to red hot
Yes,
embers and cook over
of
that.
course,
It's
of
a
course.
better heat because otherwise with fire you're just going to cook it too fast. You're going to end up burning it. You want it to cook nicely on the outside, but you want to be nice and juicy on the inside. I want to say something else about the salt too, just to make sure people understand. When you buy Morton salt in the blue box, that's, when it rains, it pours or whatever, it's got stuff added to it to keep it from clumping. It's got iodine added because there was a time when people weren't getting enough iodine in their diet, so they put it in the salt because everybody put salt on their food, so it was a good way to get iodine. There
Yep,
are
yep.
other ways to get iodine. We don't need it in our salt anymore, so you're
Well, it's
much
not the
better
same
off.
anyway. It's
and
not
and and as far as salt is concerned, it all comes from the sea originally. All salt came from the sea. But when you get salt from a mine, those are seas that receded millions and millions of years ago. And when they receded, and when they dried out, it left the salt behind. If you take seawater and you let it evaporate, the water is going to be gone, and all you're going to be left with is salt. And that's what happens. So these mines are millions and millions and billions of years of salt building up, and they go underground and get it. So what's good about
it's
that is
clean.
that there's a lot of pollution in the ocean. So if you eat sea salt all the time, that might not be good. I don't know. But
And
you
plastic
get it out of a
and
mine like those
and
mines in
hydrocarbon.
Utah. Right,
There's a lot of so James. The problem is that now with the pollution of the petroleum product
right,
and the
right.
plastics everywhere, right? I mean that's
Yeah, yeah. So the
it's in the
salt you're
soil for
getting out
sure.
of a salt mine has been there for a billion years. It's as clean and pure and natural as you could possibly get, and it's nothing but salt. So there is
I,
something to say for that. And Redmond's a great company. There's a couple others that have natural salt that's mined. Again, it originally came from the sea, but it's not. When you
yep.
buy sea salt, they've gone out into these pools and they let the salt form on the surface. They collect it, or in some cases, they just take the water and let it evaporate, and you're left with the salt. So
Now, sodium, so salt is extremely important. I mean, so one of the doctors says he was saying, but when you treating too much salt for people who have tired kidney. Yeah, if you have bad kidney, that's this is a whole other. But I told him that the salt that the kidney filters or reabsorb, that's the role of the kidney, is to reabsorb the salt so we don't lose salt.
Right.
It's going to go through salt. It's going to go about 3 to 3.5 pounds of salt a day. Pound. So that's about half of it is sodium, right? Okay, that's a lot. So when the government says, you need to drink like half a teaspoon of salt or 1 teaspoon, if you eat 1.5 teaspoon, you're going to be sick. Really, 1 teaspoon out of a pound and a half of sodium, or if you say 1.5 teaspoon of salt out of 3 pounds that the kidney is going over there, do you think that's going to make a difference? It's like we need to think common sense and stop that bullshit. Like, seriously, people are crazy. Those scientists, they get paid or they tell the truth. There's two types. It's
Yeah.
either they get paid and no, it's true. When you're looking at the science, you find either truth or money, but nothing else. It's not
Right.
in the middle. And Stephanie, I want to add one little thing about your fat. So fat is great, and yeah, you can eat the sour. My mom used sour cream like this, but you might want to eat, if you do that regularly, coconut oil, because you have the same. You have a lot of uh, uh, the sour cream is good. I would go for cheese, right? Kefir, goat kefir, because there's more nutrients. I'm looking for my vitamin K2, my protein, all these goodies, right? But if you're looking for the fat, also coconut is incredible. It is a antiviral, antimicrobial. It feeds you. It's also a saturated fat, so the body can use it to replenish their membrane. If your cell membrane are good, they don't oxidize, they last, right?
Right.
When they start to break down, stuff coming in and out, they break. You see, it's like you age faster and you can see it on your skin. Some people are very, very dry skin. That's the fat that is not being replenished correctly. That's all.
Interesting.
It's an oxidation. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, so we just
Real
made it.
food. Once again, we
Tiffany,
harp on
yeah.
this all the time, but it's all about real food. Real food. And that's the great thing about going to a farmer's market or um,
A
a
good store
really good.
like we have, right? Like we have.
Right.
Great.
Right. And all these stores that we mentioned, they also have butchers there that use really good meats. And again, it's just like the market. You go to your butcher. If you have a butcher and you go to him and you say, I really want to cook a pork loin,
Yeah,
and you just
they'll
ask the butcher, just say,
oh my God,
what's the
yeah.
best way to do this? What should
They're
I
gonna
do?
give
And they'll
you
tell you.
so many options. So many options, right?
Yeah, and of course, there are also cookbooks, but I always love to ask the butcher. I love to see what the butchers do. How do you cook this? How do you eat
Yeah.
this? And they always say,
Right.
oh, this is my favorite. I do
Yeah,
this.
right,
And
right, right. That's so
it's
cool.
always worth a try. It's always worth a try.
So
So
we love
we're
the
almost
farmers
out of
market.
time.
We're
Huh?
gonna go. No, we love the farmers market. You guys, please go there. Just make sure you spend a little money there. Even if you don't want to do the whole thing, stop by, spend $10, $20. Do that weekly. Just try. It's important.
And
If
buy
those
something
people
you've never
don't,
had before and try
or
it.
buy
You
something for
might.
someone. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like whatever. Do but go to the market. If you don't want to
Yeah.
go too early because it's too busy, go later. But I don't know, like whatever, right? All right.
So we're almost out of time. We got a minute left. I just wanted to say thank you, and I also wanted to say that next week Scott Baird is going to join us. Scott is a really interesting guy. We know him because we worked with him at Cesar. He went off to open a couple of bars that were very successful, but he's also had a very successful career as a consultant, helping people figure out things in their bars
The,
and
the cocktail bar. Now,
restaurants.
James. I trained this guy, right? No, I
Yeah,
did.
he wasn't a
I
bartender
trained
when
him.
he's.
I trained him for a couple
Yeah.
of, at Cesar, and
Yeah.
him and Scott
And Dylan.
and Dylan.
Yeah.
And Dylan opened a really cool bar. It's called Price Fighter. Beautiful bar.
Prize
This guy
fighter.
is
Yeah.
absolutely
Yep.
beautiful bar, amazing. And Scott opened many bars, but I trained
Yeah.
them.
So we'll talk to
And it's
Scott
good.
next
So
week
anyways.
and get his take on the whole bar business these
All right,
days.
people.
What's going on?
Oh, let me show you what it looks like right now. Sorry. Wow. Oh my God. You guys need to see. We're going up to that. But look at this. I didn't do anything. I forgot. Look at this.
Yeah.
Whoa. Look at this. Oh
Yeah.
my God. That's crazy. So I'm going to leave it like, I don't know. It's all done. 5 minutes for the chicken, maybe 10, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. Oh,
Nice.
wow. That works pretty well. So I'm going to give it another 10 minutes to have a nice crepe. That's it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Nice. Dinner's ready.
All right, people. Dinner is ready.
Now you just have to open a bottle of wine or a beer.
There you go. All right.
Very nice. All right.
Okay. Thanks
Thanks for
you.
joining us. We'll see you
Yeah.
next week. Stephanie, thanks for contributing. You're a lovely person. I miss you. And we'll see you next week.
Bye, James. See ya. Bye, Stephanie.